welcome back. I'm here with a new model, and I'm going to show you guys how to quest convert. So, I usually like to wait until I know all the clipping is fixed before I start on quest converting, just in case I do need to make a separate FBX. In some cases, you might need to do that depending on how large your avatar is. But in this case, this avatar is fairly small. It's a public. She doesn't got a lot of stuff on her. She doesn't have a lot of fizz bones, all that good stuff. So I'm going to show you guys my process for quest converting. So you are going to need VRC quest tools, which let me make sure I even have that in here. It doesn't look like I even added it yet. So you can add it through, like you can add it to your repository for the creator companion. There it is. I will do my best to remember to link it in the description of the video. So we're gonna wait for that to add, and then we're gonna go back to the project. Okay, and now we're gonna come up to our tools here, and we're gonna open, oh wait, before we do that, I'm gonna make a duplicate of the avatar. It shouldn't affect the original when you do it, but I'm just always super cautious because you never know with scripts. So I'm gonna actually duplicate my avatar. Now I'm gonna go to tools, and we're gonna go to convert avatar for Android. I'm gonna drag and drop this in, although it already had it there. And we're gonna do begin converter settings. This is just to let you know that the blueprint ID isn't cleared, which is fine. All right, so this thing's gonna pop up. We're gonna go ahead and change this default material to Toon Standard. That's the newer quest shaders. They're a little bit better than the original ones. If you do leave it on Toonlit, you can always change it if you forget that, but we're gonna go to Toon Standard. All right, you can also do the texture size limit. I do recommend at least doing it at the 1024. Sorry, quest users, but texture memory takes up a lot of space, and there's just no reason that you need to have textures above 1024 on quest. Okay. This is just, you know, the breakdown of everything. So I'm over the transform I'm over the transform count right here, which I'll show you guys how to do that. I'm over the fizzbone count. We don't have to really worry about this, but I do want to go ahead and check the fizzbone. So that's the main thing that needs to be fixed. Quest only limits you to 8 fizzbones. So just be mindful of that. 8 fizzbone components. So just be mindful of that whenever you are making an avatar with the intention of converting it to quest. If it has more than 8 components, it will not work. Everything will be stiff. So I'm gonna click on this, and I'm gonna see what has fizzbones and what we can take away. Honestly, there's one on the necklace. She has a necklace that moves. I'm gonna take that one off, so that gets down to our 8. So now we're at our 8. I am gonna have to decrease the transform count. I'll show you how to do that later. I am gonna keep the colliders. I only have 2 of them. And we are gonna click apply. And now we are going to convert, and it'll do its thing and convert the avatar for you. Okay, this is just to let you know that the fizzbone rating is gonna be poor, which, I mean, what avatar at this point isn't very poor on the VRChat? Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and just delete this duplicate. I'm going to hide the original so we just see the quest one. Now, first thing that we're gonna go through is the shaders. I did put them at the newer quest shaders, but there's a couple things that I need to fix. First and foremost being this. Now, in the old Quest shaders, this was just something you had to deal with. This is something that needs to be fixed in Blender, which, depending on the mesh, it just couldn't be fixed in Blender. But now all we have to do is come to our materials, select them all, and put that culling off. Okay? And then if you like realistic, you can do realistic, but I am gonna stick with the anime style, which is flat. So I'm gonna do that. Now it's very flat, like there's no shading to it whatsoever. So you can actually, I'm gonna use the top for an example. You can come here and add, like, where is it at? Oh my gosh. Rim lighting. Oh my gosh, it was right in front of me. You can add rim lighting to it. I want mine to be a little purpley. Like so, and you can even, I like to make mine super soft, so we'll do it about right here. Alright, so let's see, what else do we need? Oh, anything like this with an alpha, you can see that currently there is no way to make things that are supposed to be an alpha transparent. So I'm actually going to edit these in GIMP, and let me show you how. So first things first, we're gonna click this as well as the lashes, because I know, oh my goodness, oh there it is. And we are going to actually change these shaders to the VRChat mobile particles multiply. Like that. Now it is going to make it darker. You can see that the blush is super dark now. Although it doesn't look that bad, actually. I think I'm going to leave that one. But we still do need to change the lashes. So let me show you guys how to change that really quick. So I'm going to open up GIMP. Let that load really quick. Alright, I have GIMP open on a different monitor, but first let me go ahead. It did make it just black. But we don't want that, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So it should make it white. Oh, I made it clear. And we're going to find that lash alpha texture that I had on the PC version. Okay, looks like that. Duplicate. I'm going to drop that in the materials section. Drag and drop it in. All right, it'll look like this, but you can notice that it's inverted. So we're just going to drag and drop this in GIMP. Okay, and I am going to come here and invert it. And then I'm going to make that white an alpha, just like this. And we're going to overwrite it, let it save completely. There you go. So that should work if it doesn't work all the time. So if you have like pants or a shirt with rips in it and you use like an opacity map for it, you're kind of shit out of luck. But things like my eyelashes, eyebrows, like I said, the expression stuff that's inside the head, you can set it to the particles multiply. The other two versions do not work. I have no idea why they're there if they don't work. But yeah, so make sure it's specifically set to the multiply. Okay? Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how to do matte caps. So I have the black and the purple matte cap that I had for whatever. I'm going to come back to textures and delete the textures it assigned it because we don't need that. Alright, now I'm going to come over to these matte caps. And you can either do what I did and duplicate the texture for it like I did with the lashes, but in this case, we have this cool thing where we do override for Android. I'm gonna click on the black one, click on the purple one, override for Android. My matte caps, I do like 64 by 64. It do not matter, all right? So we're gonna come find the black one, and we're gonna go down to matte cap, check it, put that image in there. You can see that it didn't completely work, so we're gonna go change it from additive to multiplicative. That's a lot. Okay, and then I'm just gonna adjust it as I need. Do like that. Perfect. And then her nails. Same thing. Find the material, check matte cap, put it in there. There you go. Okay, so that's how you would do the matte cap textures for Quest. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go through and adjust some of these other ones that need to be adjusted, and then we can continue. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the textures. So I already did go through the ones that I pulled from the project and overrode it for Quest. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come here. I'm gonna uncheck override for Quest. I'm gonna check crunch compression and compress it all the way up. Let that apply for a couple seconds. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease all of them, pretty much. Anything that is simple, solid, you know, we're going to decrease. So like, for example, this, it's literally just a pink square. It does not need to have this high of a resolution, so that's gonna go down to 32. Like I said, my matte caps usually are gonna be between 64 and 32, depending on, you know, I usually go for 64. It's too small. Like, look at this. Look at the metal. Like, it really does not need to be larger than that. I'm also gonna go through things like the hair. The hair is pretty solid. I'm gonna go to 128 for that. And you should be able to check, as long as this isn't checked, you should be able to see what it looks like. And I mean, I could probably go all the way to 32 and it still looks fine, you know? So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm just gonna go through all of my textures and decrease it as much as I can. Also, if you have anything that is a decal on your PC version that you want to show up on your Quest version, you will need to add that now. Same thing like I did earlier, open GIMP, drag and drop your image in it, and then edit it. The only thing that didn't transfer over would be the makeup. I don't know if you guys saw, but she has like this purple eyeshadow look, But because I can't hue shift that, but I can hue shift everything else, I'm not going to add it on. But like, for example, if I were to have made this makeup in the decal section, and I wanted it to show up on Quest, I would need to physically add it to these textures. But everything looks good. You can come up to the SDK here, and you can actually see what the size of the texture memory is. That's pretty high, but I'm gonna leave it for now. I usually like to aim for around 2 or 3 megabytes. So we're gonna hold off for now. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to focus on is fizz bones. So we already removed the components that we wanted. I took the one component off of this necklace, but we still have way too many transforms. So right now, we have 106 transforms. I think the maximum it can handle is 64. So we're gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna start with the hair. So what we're going to do is we are going to go drop down our armature until we find the hair bone. There we go. So what I'm going to do is essentially transfer over the fizz bone from this strand right here to these two strands without actually connecting the two. So these bones will just follow the fizz bones applied to this set right here. So I'm going to come over to ignore transforms. I'm going to put 2 for now. And I am going to find these 2 side bones. So we have the left. We have the middle, which is the one we're going to keep. And then we have the right. So I'm going to drag the root of that left side and the root of that back side, or sorry, that right side. So it'll look like this. But if we went into play mode right now and I wiggled, these 2 sides won't move. So what we have to do to fix that is we're going to come here. I'm going to shift click, and I'm going to control click and then shift click again. Add component. We're going to look for VRC rotation constraint. Click on that. Drop down sources, add a plus sign here. Drop down this element. And now what we're going to do is we are going to assign these bones to match this middle bone right here. And we're going to do that for all of them. And I forgot a step, and I'm gonna cry. 1 second. So after you're done doing this, make sure you click activate. So now, if we go into play mode, see, they all move. But just keep in mind that these 2 sides are going to be affected by the middle. So if someone, let's say you have like posing on, and someone came and grabbed that middle bone and brought it up, the other 2 sides will. So if you're not trying to go for that effect, this might not be the method for you, but I don't have posing or anything like that. I actually don't even have a chest collider, which is crazy. I usually add them. So we're just gonna leave it like that. And if we come up to our control panel, you'll see that it dropped that transform count to 94. So I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do this with the bangs too, because I noticed there are some, you know, there's these front two strands and then there's the bang pieces as well. So I'm gonna go through and do the same process with those. So I'm still under for the I'm still over for the transform count, so I'm gonna go through this skirt. So what I think I'm going to do, actually, because I want them all to be affected, so I think what I might do is since this left side is affected by the left collider, and the right side is mainly affected by the right collider, I might have to group those two together. So let's go ahead. So whenever you are doing these and you have bones that are unequal amounts of bones, for example, this section has a lot more bones than, let's say, this section, you want the part with the longer bone to be the one you keep. So this is the one I'm going to keep. These two are the ones I'm going to get rid of. So let's go ahead and try to find it. So we're going to keep 20, but 10 and 6 are the ones that we're going to ignore. Yep. Now we're going to drop down. And we're just gonna, 20 is the one we're keeping, yes. And we're just gonna add these until it runs out, basically, so. So we're out on this group right here, we're done. So we're just gonna ignore it, like so. Okay. Now we're gonna do the same with the other side. So we wanna keep the longer one, which is this one. There we go. That does put us under the threshold. Let's go ahead. See, I might have to remove the gravity or decrease it. It does still interact with the colliders though. That's easy. So because I have gravity on it and it pulls the bones in this shape, it's gonna do the same thing with these. But that's okay. We can easily fix that by just taking the gravity off. See? Might even do that. There we go. Okay, so at this point, the only thing that we really need now is checking the toggles. Usually everything, it's pretty good at transferring everything over as long as, you know, it's not switching decals or matte caps or whatnot. But I like to check just to make sure everything works. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into play mode, and I'm gonna set up my emulator really quick. Turn these off so I can see. And just gonna do a quick little fizzbone check again. And we're just gonna go through and check all of these toggles. Alright, so it seems like the only thing that isn't working is the hue shift, which is expected. So we're gonna go ahead and duplicate this. We are going to put our FX layer on it, which just check, because sometimes depending, oh look, it does. I'm dumb. It has its own controller. I'm gonna go ahead and rename this to Quest. Okay, and then drag and drop that. And we are going to go through the hue shifts. So before we even start, make sure that you have the hue shifts selected. So it's right here. You have two. You have the normal hue shift, and then you also have the emission hue shift, which we don't have emissions on her, so we don't have to worry about that. I'm gonna actually do this. There we go. Now, matte caps cannot be hue shifted on Quest. Rim lighting cannot be hue shifted on Quest. So keep that in mind whenever you are setting up. See, I did have to change that. So we're going to go through, and then we are going to lock it. And that goes for everything else on here. So whenever you're animating the hue shifts, just keep in mind that sometimes it works. Okay, whenever you're animating these, just be mindful, because sometimes the value is not 1 on Quest for some reason. It's like 6.28 or something. So just be careful whenever you do these hue shifts. You see how it created that new, it created a new, what is this called? Property. Sometimes it won't do that. Sometimes it'll affect the property that was added. Usually that happens with emissions, not hue shifts, but just putting this out there. So it could affect your PC toggles as well, but in this case we're good. So we're just gonna go through. Alrighty. That is pretty much it as far as quest converting. So at this point, you can come up here and check if there's anything else that you missed. And now comes the wonderful point in time where we attempt to upload it and see if there's anything else that needs to be done in order for it to be under 10 megabytes. Alright, well, it looks like we're good. Let's see how big she was, because it usually will tell you the size, and I don't even see it. Oh, look, we got that texture memory down to 2.1, so that's perfect. Awesome! But yeah, that is how you quest convert. It is a little bit of a process, but as long as your avatar is on the fairly smaller side, you should be good.